We started off Friday, August 30th, and the fire department had a fire truck parade. And it was not just Hampstead Fire Department, but there was trucks there from all over. Even one of Haverhill's ladder trucks was in it. And they went all over town. I don't mean it hit every street, but they were pretty much all around town. And blowing their sirens and get everybody all wound up and let them know there was something going on. So this is why we had the fire truck parade. It gave people just an insight into what the Native Americans still are like. Their old tribal customs and their songs and their dances. And people got a big kick out of it. We dedicated the museum, which is the old library building, Friday evening. It was right after the fire truck parade. And we had a ribbon cutting ceremony and so on, just to dedicate the building. Friday night, we rang the bell at the old meeting house just to start the celebration off, if you will. Of course, for the people that don't know, there's Paul Revere Jr. bell in the belfry. It was hung there in 1809. It was one of the two known made by Paul Revere Jr. We had quite a line, in fact, wanted to take turns. So we had to be 75 or 80 people there. Everybody wanted to pull on the bell. That bell weighs 1,212 pounds in that belfry. There's a motto on it. It says, "The living to the church I call, and to the grave I summons all." The Revolutionary encampment set up on Friday afternoon, evening. And the tents that they were using were, actually they were made out of cloth, a waterproof cloth, as they had back in the colonial times. And their weapons and their gear they used, you didn't see anything modern at all. As a general rule, everything that was out was of that era. They marched, did some drilling, and did some shooting, and then on Saturday, quite a few people went through the camp, and they would show them the weapons and how they'd fire them, and the marching and the cooking, how they cooked, and there was really neat. A lot of people have commented on it. And then, of course, they had a skirmish too with British troops. Ever since I can remember, something going on. They used to have a doll carriage parade or tricycle parade, bicycle parade, or whatever. I think it's something that goes back a good many years. It was cute. It had quite a turnout for that also. And that's one of the reasons we had it set up that way, to get the kids involved. The parade started at Holiday Lane and came down Main Street and ended at the Central School. And there was a little bit of everything. Well, everybody was getting a kick out of two groups, one with little cars, old-fashioned cars, and the other with motorized tricycles. And then, of course, there was all kinds of things there, that even the Clydesdale horses, and which kind of got kind of warm there. The fire department hosed them down afterwards. They were so hot. But no, there was a lot of nice stuff there. Yeah, there was bagpipes. There was several bands, several organizations had floats depicting different things in town. Even there was a big float made up of the old meeting house. A lot of work went into that parade. Then it was about, I think it was 6 o'clock. They had the dedication for Ordway Park to West Hampstead. And there was a lot of people were there. I don't know, maybe a couple hundred, thereabouts. It was a nice dedication. A lot of work went into that park, and it looks nice. In 1892, Mrs. Ordway left that piece of land to the town for a park. In her will, it stipulated it was to be no ball playing or anything in the park. It was just for a walking park. And it was the town received the piece of land in 1934. Julia Forbes is a great-granddaughter of the donor, Mrs. Ordway. And she kind of took it on herself to get the ball rolling. Monday night, we had a historical impersonation of Daniel Webster at the old meeting house. There was about 100 people there, and they really loved it. This is a gentleman that does three characters. There's Millard Fillmore, Daniel Webster, and somebody else. But we wanted him to do Daniel Webster, and he was kind of excited about it when he found out that Daniel Webster had tried a case in the building. In 1814, there was a young fellow from Hampstead that was being conscripted into the services, drafted, or whatever you want to call it. And he didn't want to go. So Daniel Webster defended him, and he won. So it was real interesting, and people really, really enjoyed this man that impersonated Daniel Webster. Julia Moffett was there on Tuesday night on Crime and Punishment. And she spoke, and she was good also. It had to do with crime and punishment in the 17 and 1800s, and what people went through, or what the governing bodies, police, or whatever, went through to punish people. And it was interesting. It was very interesting. I thought, anyway, because I love history. And then on Thursday night, we had a professor from Dartmouth. It was on boundaries, really, of not only Hampstead, but surrounding towns, and how the bounds were established and how they delineated the bounds. There was a lot of animals there, even a snake, I believe, and they let the kids pet them, hold them to some degree. And of course, there was a lady there that spoke about all the different animals and told about each one in particular, and let kids hold them. And the kids loved it. There was a chess board. It had to be 15 feet square, and the chess pieces were a good 3 feet tall. And of course, it was played like a regular chess game, but the participants, the players, would come on and move a chess piece and then step off the board. And it was really interesting. It was teams of 3 on either side. And the boys that played the selectmen at one time, or 2 of the selectmen, they pulled in another ringer to help them. But I was standing by the kids, and they were kibitzing. Three boys. They were kibitzing amongst themselves. And one of them says to the other 2, the one that was supposed to make the move, he says, "You just moved such and such." He says, "You got him." No, he says, "Let's string him out a little more." So those kids were stringing the selectmen out.
About a small boat I'll now sing a song that played a big part when our country was young. She was built on these shores and called Gundalow, and long may her story be told. Gondola roll, gondola sing.
On Wednesday night, we had the Shaw brothers. They are actually two brothers that have performed for years, and they perform all over New England. They're New Hampshire boys, and actually we had them a year ago. This past summer, it was kind of the kickoff for the 250th anniversary celebration, and then we asked them back during the celebration, and we had a large crowd up to the middle school outside where they performed, and everybody loves them. In fact, there's quite a group of people, even in this town, that follow them wherever they're performing. They go and see them. They have a little bit of everything. Every little bit of everything. Some popular folk, just, they're good. And there's a little bit of comedy in there with them, and they're great performers.
I must go down to the sea again, to the lonely sea in the sky, 'cause I left my socks and underwear, and by now they must be dry. Well, or sort of. And all I ask is a tall ship, or a tall drink maybe, and a star to steer her by. Out of the mist of time they came, topsails flying high. Like phantoms of the past they flew on billowed wings of white. Fresh as the winds of morning, light as the ocean spray. All wonder to behold they were as they sailed upon their way. Windjammer, schooner, ketch, brigantine and yawl. From far off corners of the world they left their ports of call. Great and noble ladies, true sovereigns of the sea, they sailed to North America to join the Jubilee. From England, France and Germany, from Portugal and Spain, from Russia and from Poland they crossed the bounding main. From north and south and east and west, from every port they come. From far off Scandinavia and the land of the rising sun. Oh, windjammer, schooner, ketch, brigantine and yawl. From far off corners of the world they left their ports of call. Great and noble ladies, true sovereigns of the sea, they sailed to North America to join the Jubilee. And those of us who lined the shores that morning in July and watched in silent wonder as the ships passed slowly by, could hear them calling to us from beyond the winds of time, and feel the rolling of the decks and taste the salty brine. Oh, windjammer, schooner, ketch, brigantine and yawl. From far off corners of the world they left their ports of call. Great and noble ladies, true sovereigns of the sea, they sailed to North America to join the Jubilee. One day they'll tell the story of a day that long gone by, when the tall ships came sailing with their masts up to the sky, and the lives of we who saw them will never be the same, and the world will long remember the day the tall ships came. Oh, windjammer, schooner, ketch, brigantine and yawl. From far off corners of the world they left their ports of call. Great and noble ladies, true sovereigns of the sea, they sailed to North America to join the Jubilee. Oh, windjammer, schooner, ketch, brigantine and yawl. From far off corners of the world they left their ports of call. Great and noble ladies to sovereigns overseas. They sailed to North America to join the Jubilee. They brought their nation's blessings to the land of liberty.
On Friday, the Civil War reenactors set up camp Friday afternoon and evening. And they were around all day Saturday, and they broke camp Sunday afternoon. We had the 28th Mass Artillery and the 5th Mass Infantry and the 1st New Hampshire Cavalry. It's the first time they've ever all been together. And they stayed in their tents, they pitched the tents.
You could just stick the cylinder right
Both weekends, for the Colonial and for the Civil War, it was behind Hal Williams' house in his field. And it was, here again, it was very interesting. People could go through the encampment on Saturday, and they had drills, their own marching drills and firing drills. And then Saturday afternoon, or about noontime, I think there was 2 or 3 different times, they had reenactments with the cavalry and the infantry. And then Saturday, there was several extra people came in who belonged to Confederate infantry outfit and Confederate cavalry outfits. And they put on demonstrations of skirmishes. And people loved it. It was almost like a built-in grandstand on the leach fields behind the central school that was up higher, and they could look down on the whole reenactment. But here again, people were allowed to go through the camps, and they had all their weapons, and the horses were there, all the equipment. They had field pieces, and they're always, these people doing these reenactments are always more than willing to tell people that are interested in it what it's all about.
Lanyard, basically that's a long string with a hook on the end.
We brought in the Cooper from Strawberry Bank and the blacksmith from Sturbridge Village, and then Bob Porthier from Kingston with his, he had a setup there of locks and latches and so on. And we also had the 3 of them at the 250th for the old meeting house, and there was a lot of interest shown in it. And there seemed to be very much a lot of interest shown in it this trip also, to watch the blacksmith make hinges and nails and everything else. And sometimes he'd get the kids up there to help him, let them make a nail. And then of course, the Cooper was making his casts and barrels and so on. Saturday night, 7th, we had a barn dance at the Memorial Gym with some fiddlers there. In fact, I think Bonnie said she had engaged 2 or 3 of them. And before we knew it, there was 7 or 8 of them, all friends of theirs. They wanted to come along for the fun anyway. So some of the reenactors, the Civil War reenactors, came to it, all dressed in their uniform, and their wives and girlfriends, who were all dressed in period clothes. And they were they were square dancing out there. And here again, it was almost like, as you see in the movies from the Civil War era, the Civil War soldiers dancing with their ladies, and it was really kind of nice. On Sunday afternoon, August 8th, we rededicated the Civil War monument. And the Civil War reenactors came marching up the street. It was raining. It was raining in good shape. In fact, Hal Williams, who was in charge of the reenactment groups, had asked him, he says, it's raining so hard, we're gonna call it off. And the reenactor says, no way, we wanna do it. So they came marching up the street, and I know it raised the hair on the back of my head, and it did a lot of other guys. They mentioned it. It was almost an eerie feeling, seeing them march up the street. It was raining. They had on raincoats, and they formed ranks by the Civil War monument with the cavalry behind them. And it was just an eerie feeling, seeing them march up the street. I don't know, it's hard to explain unless you were there to see it. It's almost as if you were going back 130 years. They started about 1 o'clock, I believe, Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock maybe. It was kind of drizzly, but the rain finally left us. But they played right up until 9 o'clock at night. At the same time that these were going on, over behind the central school, there was concerts, bands over there for the younger people. And but these bands, these groups were great. Soul City were the last ones. They played, I think, longer than we actually had hired them for. They were having a good time too. And they played right up until the fireworks started at, I think it was 9 o'clock, if I remember right. And then the fireworks display lasted, and I timed it, 29 minutes. And it was fantastic. Chip Hastings was our contact man, was the one that set up the fireworks. He works part-time for Atlas Fireworks Company. And they set up all the fireworks on the westerly end of the soccer field at the middle school. And there was rows and rows and rows of fireworks set up there. And of course, it's all done electronically today. But they put on a tremendous display. Everybody has raved about the fireworks. It was all set to music. YMCA that was playing, and every time YMCA would come on, the music, the fireworks would spell out YMCA in the sky. And, it was really great. It had to be, 7,000 or 8,000 people anyway. It was just packed with people. And the finale, I don't know how long that finale lasted, but it was just one mess of fireworks. It was. Good end to the week.